All right, folks, thank you for joining me on this 17th day of November. I appreciate all of you guys for joining me. This community just continues to grow day by day, and we are completely tapped in on everything here from cryptocurrency, current events, and how to prepare for the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. I want to start by saying thank you for everyone. We've done a couple recent interviews. Highly recommend you guys check that out. We had Waters Above Crypto, we had Molly Elmore, and we're just getting started. We got a few more in the works. So you guys want to make sure that you hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of our content. Make sure you subscribe over on Twitter so you know when I'm going to be going live, and I'll give you the heads up on any future interviews, future collaborations with other creators. And for me, I'm not here to just have the regular conversation with these other folks, these same bullish conversations about, oh, crypto's the future. For me, I'm trying to get to the conversations that you're not hearing on other channels. I want to bring about, a conversation out of these other creators that maybe they normally don't touch upon. And so for me, that's the purpose with these interviews, is to bring about a good conversation that is unique and get more out of these other folks than sometimes they're willing to share. We had a great conversation with Reggie Middleton recently about the DeFi patent. Really interesting gentleman, and a fascinating story that's going on over there with Veritasium and Reggie Middleton's story. But nonetheless, I digress. Badass interviews are going to continue, and I will hopefully have the audio right on the next one. I know, for those of you, thank you so much for bearing with me. I re-uploaded the Waters Above interview with the better audio, so hopefully that's a little bit better. I know it wasn't the best quality, but we are always working to bring you guys the best content, and I apologize for any technical difficulties on the run-up as we continue to grow this channel. I appreciate all of you guys for hitting that subscribe, hitting that thumbs up for your boy, and spreading this message far and wide. Without further ado, let's get straight on into it. We're starting out with a massive 50 spot super chat from Mark Jenkins. Are you kidding me, Mark? Mark, thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you for staying strapped in. And as always, we appreciate all the super chats, the thumbs up, guys. Massive 50 spot to start the party. One day, maybe XRP could reach prices at least $5. Please give us something, right? We're going to get into some technical analysis at the end of this session. Tonight's episode: liquidity crisis spreads as Ripple meets in London. This is what's going on. The rest of the space is falling apart while Ripple meets with the biggest and best players at the Ripple Swell conference. Completely classy as ever as they appear in London, right on time, right on cue, as the liquidity crisis is unfolding and the contagion is spreading throughout the cryptocurrency space. We're going to break it all down tonight. Now, let's get straight on into it. So we got Bitcoin here hanging about 16.9, just under 17,000, and we got Ethereum at 12.21. XRP's at 38 cents. So these things are really just hanging in here, moving sideways for the time being. Let's take a look here at the chart. This is your Bitcoin chart 4-hour. 17,000 in the recent second half of today. Actually, we got a little bit of a green candle action here. So this is your 4-hour chart zoomed out. As you can see right here, we're looking at these moon phase patterns when we look at these charts, watching it flow. And as we see here, this thing's moving sideways. 15,600 is going to be your support on the bottom. 18,500 is going to be that resistance on the top. Can we break back through 18K, and can we break on out of this bear market? I don't think that we're done, but I do think that we can test those upper levels. That 18K level can easily be done. No reason to get excited, but I am not trading. You guys already know why. We're in the middle of a liquidity crisis that we have not seen yet in the cryptocurrency space, unfolding rapidly. Dwindling U.S. cattle herd implies supermarket beef prices may rise even more. Now, you're saying, oh gosh, I just wanted crypto. Folks, it's not sexy, it's not fun, but it's also not fun or sexy or cool to starve. And as we've been talking about, you don't have to be a crazy prepper. You have to understand how this setup is playing out here. Quality food, quality water, quality housing, shelter, quality goods, quality commodities that this world needs to run on. By design, we have shortages. By design, we have labor shortages, right? And you're seeing it continue on. We thought that we'd be out of this supply chain crisis. We're still dealing with that. And then we have record amount of inflation as well. So you don't have to be a crazy prepper to save money on future expenses by stocking up on some essentials that you know you're going to need. We've been talking about this for well over a year now, and it's only gotten worse. It definitely hasn't gotten any better. In some areas, getting worse. Now we see here once again beef. anything that matters, good quality protein. You want to go get an organic beef, grass-fed beef from your local farmer, you're going to have to pay for it. And I would be glad to do so. I'm very happy to do so, right? We've been talking about making these arrangements because we knew what was coming here. It's completely being exposed wide open. The U.S. cattle herd dwindling, okay? Let's continue to watch that one. Now, very interesting. Let's get right on into it, folks. This is bombshell. Republicans claim President Biden is compromised by foreign deals. I'm not even going to speak on it further. You guys already know where we're going with this. The Republicans are coming in. They just are making their grand entrance. Nancy Pelosi's done for the time being, stepping aside, has played her role. And the Republicans are stepping up. We are going to hold the Republicans just as accountable, even more so, actually, because I expect more. I expect more out of them than I do the Democrats, than the left. In regards to this left-right paradigm, I'm not going to get caught up in that. It's just who's going to lie to me more? Who's going to lie to my face and talk to me like I'm stupid? That's how I view the left-right paradigm. Who's going to talk to me like I'm a doofus moron, a peasant? Who's going to raise my taxes? Who's going to implement a program that's failing, destroying the middle class of America? That's what I'm looking at right now. It's not a left-right paradigm. But let's hold these guys accountable. They say that we're going to start to have some oversight. They say that we're about to have some accountability. God bless them. Let's see it. Let's get it done. Now, this involves 50 countries, and they insist the bank accounts were commingled, and the White House spent $250,000 to deflect damaging stories. Now, we know that the collaboration with the mainstream media goes much further than that, and we're now seeing it exposed in this FTX bomb that has just gone off here in the cryptocurrency space. FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, took a $370,000 PPP loan. What a bunch of BS, folks. And this thing was completely taken advantage of. Taxpayer money meant to help small businesses stay afloat went to a billionaire's crypto Ponzi scheme in the Bahamas. $370,000. How that was even possible it doesn't surprise me, because this is all part of the game. And this is when we talk about our strategies for building generational wealth. We talk about the tax code was written by the rich for the rich. So we can hate on the 1%, we can hate on the elite, or we can adopt their program and implement righteous businesses. We can operate and invest in the real estate market in a righteous way. $370,000 in many companies actually took advantage of this way worse. I'm actually surprised that they didn't go for more. They didn't want to get too greedy with it. They knew they had the billions that were getting funneled through them. They didn't need much more. They didn't need more than $370,000 from the PPP loans. Absolutely sick. This thing's getting completely exposed, and now we have tonight that the Bahamas Securities Commission has taken control of all FTX assets for safekeeping. Let me repeat that. All assets of FTX have now been seized by the Bahamas Security Commission. Folks, we've been talking about it. We're going to continue to talk about it to get your assets off of these exchanges. Your assets. They're not your assets, not your keys, not your crypto. So simple, but we got to reiterate it, and now we see it. If this hasn't been a wake-up call for you yet, what are you doing? You got to get your assets off these exchanges. We do not trust, our opinion, my opinion, not financial advice, is to not trust any exchanges right now, period. And people want to hate and say, oh, you're causing a bank run. This is so much worse for the space. In fact, I've seen one of the biggest shills, won't name names, you know who I'm going to be talking about, one of the biggest shills on TikTok coming at us for all our crazy theories. And we're making this way worse than it has to be. That there's so many good projects in the space, bro. I know, because they were cutting me checks for me to promote these silly little stupid Ponzi schemes that had no value. No, we're dropping the truth, and we're saving people's funds. We're saving their assets, and you cause people to lose tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and potentially even millions of dollars. In fact, wait, let's go back and check the record. You shilled the second largest NFT rug pull in the space last year. $2.6 million was, I think, the number. It was over 2 milli. The only one bigger was Little Uzi Vert's. But we're crazy conspiracy theorists that are making this worse? No. We're calling out the bad actors so that we can clean out the space and bring in utility. Step aside, kid. Step aside, shills. You guys are full of shit. And God, thank you. Finally, you guys are getting the hell out of our way. Cheers to those that are righteous in the space, moving humanity forward. Not on the bullshit that you guys are on. And yes, we're going to continue to call it out. It sucks when you can't get your little checky anymore, doesn't it? You can't rent out as nice of an Airbnb when you go to the Bitcoin conference. What a joke you guys are in this space. Begging for a bailout of FTX. Oh my gosh, we got to stop the contagion. No, it's great to see all these guys get wrecked. Get all of these bad actors out of the space. Now, let's back up. I have so much sympathy for all of the losers that, all of the users that are going to have lost their funds. They're going to have lost their money. That fell for the scams. That fell for the impersonators. But folks, this is the opportunity. We're investing in the wild, wild west. And people really trusted Sam Bankman-Fried. I saw what was going on with FTX from afar. I hadn't looked at him closely. I hadn't watched Sam Bankman-Fried. But you take one look at the guy and it's like, holy cow. God, thank you that we're getting this done. We needed this. You guys didn't build a real business. Shilling Ponzi schemes is not a real business. And you better watch out. They're coming after the shills now. Now, this is major, guys. And that's why I get so excited, is because understand what just happened. The SEC of the Bahamas just took it all. They just took it all. And Sam Bankman-Fried's walking around that island. Apparently, we just saw a picture of him drop today. He's walking around this island, getting his latte, having a good time still. We don't want people to lose funds. We don't want the tragedy. We don't want any of that. But folks, it had to be this way. We cannot allow that to go on. This is a great opportunity for those of us that have understood this was coming. It was inevitable. And it is not wrong of us to speak out on this. It is not wrong for us to save people's assets, save people's cryptocurrencies that they worked so hard to get, that they were so nervous as they, got into the space trying to figure out exchanges, wallets, how to do this deal. And they got these freaking influencers pushing just nonsense on them, nonstop, keeping everyone so distracted. These guys make me sick. Now, CoffeeZilla. Tether is the 60 billion pound elephant in the room this crypto crash. It still can get much worse. Don't forget, Alameda Research was the biggest user of Tether. I would love to say that we're done with this. I would love to say that the bottom's in and we're going to move on up. But folks, when we look at this, when we look at these numbers, when we see what's falling apart, who's getting exposed, Alameda Research, the biggest user of Tether, 60 billion pound elephant in the room, Tether, we're not done. And we've talked about how Tether is set up to be that final domino. Now it's just dropping dominoes. Crypto lender Genesis seeks $1 billion emergency loan by Monday. This is one of the OGs in the space, Genesis, seeking $1 billion. They do huge amount of volumes over there. Now, Bruce Fenton put this out together perfectly. Here's a test for your self-custody. Tell your next of kin to retrieve your coins as if you had died. They are only allowed to use the info they have now. Now, no new note or instructions allowed. If you died today, they wouldn't have those instructions either. See how the test works. So basically, if you were to pass today, would your family be able to secure your assets? Have you left behind your passcodes in a way that is easy and accessible for your family, your next of kin? We got to think about this, folks. And we have. I know in my community, we've had whole seminars, on custody of assets, on security. And we're going to be touching on this once again. Deep dive coming up on security as well. Now, I don't do tutorials. I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to do tutorials. Okay. That's not what I do. I go deep dives on these topics. Okay. But there's already good tutorials out there. We've talked about cold storage. We've talked about it already. I'm not going to harp on you guys, but here's the thing. People forget and they don't go all the way with this. Okay. If you were to pass today, are they going to be able to get all of your assets? Another thing that I saw today you need to think about. Say you're a crypto millionaire, you're a hotshot. Okay, you've made it. What happens if someone takes your phone? Could they take your phone and within a few minutes transfer all of your assets out? Because for many people they could. And that's the problem with having your assets on your exchanges. That's the problem with having your wallets on your main phone. Something to think about here. We really go in depth on how far there's levels. There's many levels to the security game. But the basic fundamentals is get your assets off these exchanges. And then going further than that, I actually recommend multiple devices. Get your connection, basically where you're going to utilize the exchanges on an offline phone that's not always connected. There's serious levels. I'll drop a deep dive on it here soon. But folks, you got to be thinking about this moving forward. And, moving forward, it's hard to think about in the depths of a bear market. But think about this. You don't want to be having $1 million on your phone that can be moved out in 1 minute. Think about that. And run these tests for self-custody. God forbid something were to happen. Can your family get that asset? Can they get that off of your cold storage? Have you left behind, instructions for how to get your assets? Now, I wanted to talk about this before I get into some bullish, before I get into Ripple Swell conference. This is the bad scenario. And remember, I'm looking at a bad scenario in the cryptocurrency space because I don't think that we're done with the downside. So this is from EG Reg Crypto, XRP bad scenario. I've been asked why I don't chart the downside of XRP because I have high conviction in XRP for the long run. The downside is limited, but the upside is unlimited. I like the sound of that. Excuse me. Any purchase below $1 is once in a lifetime opportunity, not financial advice. Below is a bad scenario. Let's take a look at this thing right here, folks. So this is XRP, and you can see this chart. 2 times previous. Case A, we went down 50%. Case B, we went down 65%. So if we go down another 65%, that's going to bring us down to the 11-cent XRP level. If we go down that 50 cents, about 50% from here, right? That's going to bring us back below that 20-cent level. So before I get into this bullish news, I want everyone to be prepared. I had to get through all of our business. We had business items to cover before we get into the bullish hype. That's how we do it on this platform. Okay, we talked about prepping. We talked about securing your crypto cold storage. Right here, we're talking about downside potential. We are not done. This liquidity crisis continues to get exposed. Please be prepared to buy these assets at a cheaper price if you are interested in doing so. If you are interested in these assets and accumulating bags, I think that we're going lower. Prepare for that to come through here soon, here very soon, okay? And we see downside potential easily back down another 50% for the cryptocurrency space even. But we see right now with Bitcoin hovering around that 17K level, I want to see this thing at least touch below 14K. 14K is the level that I think that we need to break before we can move back up to the upside, but we'll see what this market gives us, okay? Now, this is what we love to see. This is XRP utility and growth without Ripple. The decentralized XRP Ledger continuing to grow. Check this out. This is Anaj Pungarkar. I just butchered his name. But this is the gentleman from GateHub, okay? Founder and CEO of GateHub. We have an announcement, and right here he's with Vite Vin. On-off ramps for all 13 supported stablecoins issued by GateHub will be fully integrated into the XUM wallet. You will be able to fund and withdraw coins without leaving the XUM. So for many of you guys that are using the XUM wallet, I like XUM. It's nice, especially for utilizing the XRP Ledger. And once again, right here, we have continued liquidity being built out. 13 supported stablecoins from GateHub now integrated into that XUM wallet. So you're going to be able to fund your XUM wallet right there without having to leave XUM. That is massive. Absolutely massive. Now, let's get on into this Ripple Swell conference. This is massive. It's a beautiful thing to see. I got a few clips to play for you guys, and then I will give you guys my analysis, my breakdown. But I love to see this. Ripple just putting on a show once again. Let's get right on into it. Cue the curtain call on Ripple, Swell, Global, another successful conference. Now, I realized you guys couldn't even see that, but I'm not going to play that again. The venue just looked absolutely sweet and beautiful. Let me see this. How freaking awesome is that? How beautiful. All right, and if that part gets cut out, that's because we got copyright strike on that music that they're using. But that venue just looked beautiful, much better than all the Bitcoin conference, much better than the NFT London conference where literally no one even showed up. Now let's get right on into it, folks. This is major. So Ripple here. Learn how Real Supermojo is leveraging Ripple Liquidity Hub to better manage crypto liquidity internally and bring better NFT experiences to their customers. They're basically just putting it back in the rest of the space. Hey, while you guys are playing around trying to figure out this Sam Bankman-Fried FTX collapse and what's going on, here's an example of someone who's leveraging Ripple Liquidity Hub to better manage crypto liquidity internally. FTX sure could have used some of that. And to bring about a better NFT experience for the customers, which we've been talking about, the NFT update for the XRP Ledger is just going to be absolutely massive. Continuing on, for over 10 years now, Ripple has been at the crux between enterprises and crypto native services, and we are doubling down on that. This is Brad Garlinghouse addressed the Ripple Swell global audience today, noting successes over the past decade and promising a robust future ahead. Take it away, Brad.
I'm excited to share with all of you that Ripple has now processed nearly $30 billion worth of volume since launch and over 20 million transactions since we first launched RippleNet years ago. We're helping customers every step of the way to make sure their wallet has sufficient liquidity at all times for the smoothest possible experience. Over 10 years now, Ripple has been at the crux between enterprises and crypto native services, and we are doubling down on that. I hope it resonates with you in the same way it resonates with me. And this is Crypto Means Business.
Let's get it done, Brad. We absolutely love it. Folks, let's run through this. 10 years, 750 employees, 300 new hires just this year in 2022. 500 million invested, right? And that's invested in other cryptocurrency projects within the space, mostly in the XRP Ledger ecosystem, probably exclusively in the XRP Ledger ecosystem. Then from the markets report, we have them sitting on 1 billion cash, right? And I just want to say that the rest of the space needs to catch up. Ripple is showing everyone how to get this deal done. Now, let's look at this one. This is sorry, let me pull this guy up. Chief Digital Officer at Mastercard. Right, we've talked about this. Massive. And Mastercard right now is doing a partnership for that digital dollar, that pilot that they're doing with the New York Fed. Mastercard is part of that right now. Here we have the Chief Digital Officer at Mastercard right here on stage with the internet was Weissel from Ripple. Folks, let's listen to this one. This one's nice.
You've been very vocal about you think this is as transformative, crypto, as the internet was in the late 90s when it first came into being.
The internet was a distributed network that allows people to transmit information. And blockchain is a distributed network that allows people to store and transfer ownership assets. I have the conviction for that vision to realize itself, the financial industry needs to come on board. There is no other way. There is no other way for blockchain and these business models to go mainstream without the financial industry.
And that's the thing that separates Ripple from the rest of the space is they're bringing on these old guys that for some kids might seem boring. You know, oh, we don't care. We're down with the banks, right? We don't need the banks. This is just going to be a decentralized world. You guys are broke. These guys have trillions of dollars to settle daily. What kind of deal are you trying to get done? I mean, come on, let's get our game up and let's actually accomplish something that matters. Now, this one, James Wallace, VP of Central Bank Engagements and CBDCs at Ripple, took the stage on day one of Swell Global to discuss why the technology that powers the XRP Ledger is primed for CBDCs and exactly who will need to strategize for a CBDC future. Let's check this one out.
XRP Ledger is, world-leading public blockchain, which was built for payments and issuing currencies. So it's a natural fit for CBDCs. We've taken that and basically providing a private version of that for the central banks. Something that's going to be absolutely critical for the success of CBDCs and the adoption of them is the relationship between the public sector and the private sector. As I mentioned earlier, we view that the public sector, the central banks working with the government will be the designers, the rule setters in terms of policy, and the implementers of the platform for the core capabilities around wholesale and retail CBDC, but that the use cases will come from the private sector. The list just goes on and on and on. There's literally endless potential use cases.
Right there, and we've seen it. They just confirm once again that they're at the table with the central banks. Right, they're taking orders. How do we service you? And they know that there has to be a private-public partnership. Right, you provide the solutions for these central banks. They're going to onboard with you. Right now, this is a race. This is a tech race. Just a similar technological situation is back in the .com bubble, where 99% of the space was a Ponzi, not getting it done, no utility, not solving real problems. But we see here Ripple, and whether you like CBDCs or not, folks, we are ready and prepared to move all the money. That's what matters. Whether it's the good guys, whether it's the bad guys, whether it's CBDC, whether it's the derivatives market, can we get it done? That's what matters most, and we can, absolutely. Now, talking about tokenizing real-world assets is proving to be tremendously valuable to a number of industries because of the inherent transparency and programmability of blockchain technology. We explored 2 such use cases on day 2 of Ripple Swell Global. Let's play this one for you guys.
The real estate industry is obviously one of the most obvious spaces or industries to bring onto chain. We felt that we could use tokens to exchange value and build a better level of trust in these relationships.
From the perspective of recruiting high-value talent for something like building a gigafactory in Nevada, being able to target and cryptographically prove that someone, for example, took a specific class, got a specific grade, participated in a specific club. These have tremendous economic value.
Absolutely. And now where does this get fun? Where does this get fun for us? Right here, we see Ripple giving us a number. We like numbers. We like a little bit of data, right? We can put together the theories, but we like the numbers. Cross-border payment flows are estimated to reach 156 trillion in 2022. Companies can benefit from faster, cheaper, more efficient crypto-enabled payments across industries and use cases. How about that, folks? $156 trillion just in 2022 is the estimates right now for cross-border payments. And that's just one use case. And as we've been looking at, we believe that the cross-border payments use case for XRP is just the testing grounds, is just the pilot version. We are ready to move all the money, all assets. Now, does that mean that all value will move on the XRP Ledger? No. But right here, Ripple is showing you how big just the cross-border payments use case is, but then showing you at their conference all of the different real estate, tokenizing ownership, tokenizing everything. And the NFT update for the XRP Ledger is late, but what matters is they got scalability down first. Then they updated for the smart contracts, and we're about to get another smart contracts amendment on top of the NFT update that we just got. That's going to enable full utility along with the Flare network as well. Another part of the XRP ecosystem that's going to be helping to build out utility. But right now, We're about to watch more clips are going to come out of this conference, and you guys need to watch closely from this Swell conference because it gives you a glimpse at what tables they're sitting at, what deals they're looking to get done. And, you know, who else in the space is having these types of conferences, having these types of conversations, getting, these types of folks to come speak at their conference? It's a completely different environment, setting, and assembly of people at the Ripple Swell conference versus what we've seen in the cryptocurrency space so far. And what an interesting situation here. While the rest of the space is going through the worst liquidity crisis panic crash moment, we have Ripple calm as can be, $1 billion cash, hired 300 new hires this year alone, 750 employees, offices worldwide, sitting on $1 billion cash, on-demand liquidity corridors firing up every single corridor. We now have basically complete coverage for on-demand liquidity on every single continent. Maybe they set up a node in Antarctica when David and team was down there as well. I don't know about that. But the only one left here is the United States in this stalled SEC lawsuit. And for me, I cannot find anybody else in the space that is even coming close. I just cannot. There is some companies that are respectable. Some cryptocurrency projects that do have utility are doing something nice. It is interesting. But the company, as I reiterate, that is furthest along in this space, by far, not even close, continues to be Ripple. This is being confirmed once again at this Ripple Swell conference, and I'm very excited. Now, let's back on out. Let me take a little bit of Q&A session. Okay, I appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. Make sure you guys smash that thumbs up if you're excited about the future of what Ripple and XRP is going to accomplish. Let's get into a Q&A session. I want to chop it up with you guys. Got a little bit of time here. I got a little bit of an adult beverage in the form of some wine, a little bit of wine tonight, so we might get a little bit of wild conversation taking place here. Let's have some fun with it. But this is a beautiful opportunity, as I continue to say here, watching the rest of the space go through a moment that was inevitable. I feel sympathy for the regular average users that are going to lose their funds from FTX. I feel bad for the average person that's going to lose their funds from the next exchange that goes bust. That's sad. But we did our part. We did what we could do, sounding the alarm. Don't trust any of these exchanges. Tether still needs to collapse. The bottom is not in. Oh, by the way, look out for a date, 11/8, where an incredible amount of energy is going to be coming in, and it's the perfect date where the people that like to do ritual sacrifice and manipulate the market would maybe look to crash the market. We did give that warning as well, and to the exact date we got that event, did we know it was going to be FTX? No, but we knew. We knew the shakeup was coming. We knew the liquidity crisis was not done and that it was going to get worse. And here we go. And it's only looking worse as the bankruptcy proceedings are coming out, the further documents that are coming out, and the contagion spreads. You got to secure your assets. You got to have a serious program. Let's get completely tapped in right now. What are we working with, folks? Thank you for tapping in tonight. Make sure you hit that thumbs up for me, and let's share this message far and wide. Okay? 33:33 is the timer. I think I have another 17 minutes to go. Let's run up a Q&A session. Thank you for joining me tonight. Appreciate all of you. Why is Uphold still selling XRP? Because they're good folks. They're good folks. But we buy it, we can move it off the exchange. Okay? Could you discuss the Tether collapse? How far down do you think XRP will go? We have a ways to go. We got to see how far this is actually going to go. We got to see what kind of reserves Tether has to have. But another 50% could be easily done for the cryptocurrency space. Locked and loaded. Let's get this party started. Andres, thank you. Appreciate you. What a time to be alive. Absolutely. God bless you all. Thank you. Yeah, I don't even care who we want to call the group, why they worship what they do. For many people that have, not liked the conversation that I had with Waters Above, I let the man share his opinions on reality. It's just one man's version of our reality. I let him share that. And at the very bare minimum, you pull up the freaking moon phase indicator on your chart and you go, what the hell? And that's what I'm saying is I don't have to go to the let me be careful with what I say. I don't have to go to the party to understand that that's the night they're going to have a party. What kind of party am I talking about? Sacrificing the cryptocurrency space. That's how we were able to call the bear market starting last year That's how we were able to start it this year. I don't know what it means. I don't care what it I don't look into what the eclipse does. I don't look into what the planets mean. I let Waters Above talk about it. And then I pulled that pattern up on my chart and I said, damn, that's spot on. Shorted Bitcoin, 8 out of 9 on my Bitcoin shorts. I get, grow my trading bag 100%. And then we come to the liquidity crisis and I say, okay, don't get greedy. Take my chips off the table. Cashed out to Tether, and then we don't want to be in Tether, so I cashed out to XRP, and then thank God I was able to get my XRP off the exchange. My point is, you don't got to agree with everyone. I'm not here to agree with everyone. I'm not here to be friends with any of these guys. I'm here to build generational wealth, create a successful business, and do right by my version of this reality, of my God, of whatever the hell I believe in. I have conviction and faith, and like I said, if you speak and you're having we don't even have to call it a debate, call it a discussion, and someone has an opposing view, well, if your view's the right view, if you have the correct evidence and facts and understanding, then your view shouldn't be shaken. It should only reaffirm and enforce your conviction and your faith in what you believe in. When I speak or listen to someone who says that XRP can't surpass $10, that does not make me change my views on what I think XRP will do. When someone says that the Fibonacci extension and this and that and the TA, bro, only takes XRP to $7, I say, okay, great. I'm probably going to take a little bit of profit at that area too. The exchanges aren't going to work. I don't trust the exchanges. They're going to shut down. They don't have liquidity. They're going to go bust. But if I can sell some at that point, I might. Yes, because I do understand. The TA takes us there. Settling trillions of dollars every single day takes us to another place, though. That's another conversation. That's a separate conversation. You can't TA bro that conversation. So, for what it's worth, I created this platform here to have an interesting conversation, not to have the same circle jerk on the same bullshit that everyone else is talking about. I want opposing views. I want a guy on my show that says he's got the whole patent for DeFi and that everyone owes him money. That's a ridiculous claim. But fuck, he's got a good case. Excuse my language. He's got a damn good case. Is it going to stand up? I don't think so. Do I agree with that? How far he's going to be able to take his patent? No. I want the adult conversation. I want to have fun, not the same lame conversation that everyone else is having. We got to be different. We got to listen to people with opposing views, opposing understanding of reality. In fact, after a decade of research and understanding how evil these people are, that's what woke me up to this, how this reality really is. Crypto is dead. Time for CBDC government controlled. Yeah, well, even with CBDCs, you still need that cross-border bridge asset. Cross-border payments, Ripple is solving is a big issue. $156 trillion is the estimate for cross-border payments. That's massive. So if Ripple just even gets 10% of that, you do the math. You do the market cap, bro. You do the calculations. Now, they just talked about how they've done 30 million transactions so far on on-demand liquidity and $30 billion worth of volume. That's just getting started. Remember, 156 trillion per year cross-border payments. So they're telling you we've only accomplished 30 billion yet. So people ask, why is the price of XRP still low? They haven't unleashed the utility. They've only done 30 billion on ODL. That's nothing. Like, I am one that I love Brad. I love Ripple. This is an accomplishment. We did it. Cheers. Amen. But we got more work to do, and that's where Brad and team is at too. You think they're done? You think that 30 billion? No. They said we're going to put a dent in the universe. What else are we working with? I hope you guys are creating real businesses right now, starting your side hustle, making sure that you're not about to get laid off like 10,000 employees at Amazon, thousands, tens of thousands of employees across the tech sector. And this is only the beginning. We got to make sure we're bringing it in right now, guys. This is not a joke. This is not a game. Swift does $5 trillion a day. Yeah, $5 to $6 trillion per day. Yes. Will XRP be decentralized when CBDC is here? Yes, XRP is decentralized. Even when the CBDCs come, yes, it'll still be decentralized because anyone can use the XRP Ledger. Excuse me. Have I ever looked at XDC? Yes, I like XDC. Any other exit plan other than exchanges? Well, you can use decentralized exchanges, but there's a limited liquidity on those exchanges, and there's limited off-ramps, ability to actually move USD or whatever currency you want to your bank account. So you have limited ability there. Willie says, I have a laundromat and it is thriving. There you go. It's always the non-sexy businesses that spit out cash flow consistently. And that's what matters right now. Consistent cash flow. For me, it's always been about building consistent cash flow over get rich quick, over make a quick buck, make a quick flip, do something cute, the next sexy business. No. Consistency. Non-sexy businesses spit out cash flow like none other. 1 dozen of eggs for an ounce of silver is coming. I'll tell you what, Juan, we're about to see price discovery. This is the thing, guys. We're about to see price discovery on all the assets, all of the commodities, all the resources. The suppressed assets that we've talked about, gold, silver, XRP, the utility cryptocurrencies that we like, suppressed. We understand that. But we're about to see the real value of organic grass-fed beef, as we covered at the beginning of this. A diminishing cattle herd in the United States, telling us that the supermarkets are going to have to raise prices once again. And in some of these instances, can you even get your hands on it? The price is going up, but then you're also in a limited supply. I know my local butcher, he's not taking your cow, he's not butchering your animals, your livestock till next year. He's already booked out fully for next year. Think about that. People are so used. We've had it so good in this country where you go to the store, you pick out between all your options, and you have a good time. We are under attack here in the West, in this country, America. Europe, you guys already know what energy crisis and other crises you're facing. United States, we've had it so good for so long. The game has been flipped upside down here. Canada is worse. Yes, Canada has its own struggles as well. Are you buying more XRP? If so, how much weekly? Tell us something fundamental. Shane, good question. I'm stacking as much freaking cash as possible every single day, every single week. That's what I'm doing. What am I buying? I'm not buying right now. I've already stacked my bags. And right now, personally, I've already said this, understand this is not because I don't believe in the cryptocurrency assets. It's because I want to get into the real estate asset. The real estate market is upside down. It's sickening. But I want to get into the real estate market because I want to build a real estate business, an actual business in real estate, not just a little rental portfolio. I want to build a real business, but also because of the tax advantages. You want fundamental advice, Shane? I'm going to give it to you right now. I met with my accountant this week. I busted my ass this week stacking as much cash as possible, and then I met with my accountant, figuring out how I can plan for my taxes, how much money I have to cut to the IRS or not have to cut because I legally take advantage of the tax law that was, like I said, written by the rich for the rich. Real estate is a very tax-favored asset. You agree with Waters' XRP settle price after pump and dump theory? Guys, I've forever have talked about this potential that I do think will play out, where XRP is going to have a massive, massive pump before it absolutely has one of the biggest and ugliest retracements ever. Yeah, just like it did last bull run, just like it did back in 2017, 2018, up to $3.80 all the way back down to 20 cents. Yes, we can go from up to $10 back down to 2, up to $20 back down to 4, up to $30 back down to 5. It can be done easily. In fact, I think it's the setup to shake out 99% of holders, the few last people that are in this space. Andrew, I appreciate you. Thank you, brother. Oh, please tell me we don't have the AMZ scammers in the chat. Please. Please. Guys, these are all scams. And I will never ask for you to invest cryptocurrency with me, guys. Never, period. I will never have a WhatsApp. I'm not asking anyone. I don't have time to DM anybody. If you DM me and I respond to you, you'll be able to tell. You'll be able to tell. You will DM me. I will DM you back on Twitter. It's the only place. Okay? Other than that, I am not sending you cold DMs, and I am not interested in having you invest with me. It's so unfortunate because I've had so many people lose money, 6 figures plus. I had a friend sent over $100,000 to a scammer. I've had people lose 20,000 plus. You know how sick that makes me feel when I read those DMs? I mean, yeah, it's very unfortunate. Chase, you're trolling. Okay, yeah. I got my team. Guys, I got people. I got moderators. I don't even know how many people we got on the team now that are working to literally block scammers and to moderate. It's crazy. We got a freaking army of moderators and people on the team that are trying to block out and report all these people. What do you think of PolySign? PolySign's going to be massive. You have the most common sense of any influencer, you're the man. Yeah, Jason, I appreciate that. One thing that I also say too is that a lot of these guys never built a real business in their life. Their business, the reason why they were able to put entrepreneur in their bio is because they were shilling crypto tokens. That's not a business. I mean, it was a business. How's that program working out? Complete failure. You guys are going bust. Trying to salvage what's left of your reputation. It's a sad place to be in. But for me, I've never done a promotion for a coin, period. I've never done any promotions, period. I have my affiliates linked on down below. If you want to support us that way, if you want to send a super chat, if you want to hit a thumbs up, if you want to share a message far and wide, that's all we ask for. Appreciate you guys. What do you think about RSR? I haven't taken a look at it. I've heard about it, but I haven't taken a look at it. Can you still buy and get your XRP off BitYard? I wish I knew. I don't know. I never heard of that one. Do I have an LLC or an S Corp? I have multiple LLCs. Talk about the story with FTX from your opinion. I've already touched on it. I can't touch on it much further, actually. If I go really deep on it, I'll get in trouble again. So I'll just leave it up. Guys, we've been warning about this. We've been warning about the liquidity crisis in the space for a long time. That one guy, I appreciate your super chat, brother. You're always throwing it down in the chat, and I appreciate that. That one guy, thank you for the 10 spot. Howdy, Zach. I spend all day talking to financial advisors and traders and bankers at work. We talk about what's coming. We got our fams, friends, and all who listen in 3-letter bags. We know, we're waiting, we prepare. I'm glad that so many more people are trying to learn. We weren't taught this in school. You go to your financial advisor. He scams you. Think about that. It's not just the TikTok shills. The financial advisors and planners and the reputable guys have been scamming us. That's how messed up this situation is. And that's how important this message is, you know? And as I've said here, I've got my partner down below. Not financial advice. I think, I'm not even going to tell you what I think. I'm going to tell you what I've done. I've stacked a considerable amount of my investable assets in cash. A percentage is in silver. It's about 5%. It's about 5% in silver is what I've done. And if you need help doing that, if you want to roll over your 401k retirement account, I highly recommend you get in touch with my partners. Linked on down below, Precious Metals, or at my website, it's the top link, Precious Metals. Get in touch with my people if you want to get into precious metals, and they will help you roll over your 401k retirement account as well. JJ, thank you for the 5-spot super chat. Only one way to erase the debt. It's war. See banking law. The world has seen nothing yet. JJ, excuse me. Small wars happening behind the scenes, incoming. There's so much here that still has to be reset, revalued, and restructured. And this is why I say that the crypto space is just playing around so far. There's so much more money that's coming into this space that will be settled on a daily basis that, trillions of dollars being settled on one blockchain, I think will be done. Is that blockchain going to be XRP, Quant, XLM, or will all of them get a little chunk of the action? Few trillion on Quant, few trillion on XDC, XLM, XRP, IOTA, utility cryptocurrencies that meet the ISO 222 messaging standard. There's a whole lot of money to go around. Quadrillions of dollars in derivatives. Plenty for everyone. Where can we find the waters above moon chart? It's not even waters above. It's just go on your trading view. If you just put in moon phases, just throw that in. Just throw that in. Your moon phase, it's an indicator on trading view. First time tuning in, appreciate the real talk. Is there a cold storage solution for Cypherium or XPR? Tony Solomon, I appreciate you, new viewer. Appreciate that. I am not sure about Cypherium or XPR. Is Cypherium an XRP Ledger token? I don't think it is. You can store all of the XRP Ledger tokens on Zum. I'm not sure about XPR. It's a good question. I don't know if you're talking about XRP or if you meant to say XPR. We know there's plenty of places to store XRP, Ledger, plenty of places. Ledger, Zum, you name it. I love to hear that, Arthur. I love to hear that. You got your friend, considerable bag. That's awesome. That's awesome. What's your financial background? Well, I'm going to assume that you're probably trolling, but I could give you an answer, but I'm not going to. Let me think of something else that I can say that's politically correct, won't offend anyone. Financial background. Well, I've been in business for 8 years. I have almost no debt and considerable cash flow every month. Financial background. Let's see. Been studying this for 10 years. 360,000 followers, subscribers between all my platforms. So we must be doing something right. But as far as background, I'm just been in the streets making money in the streets. And yeah, over the last 4 months, like I said, 8 for 9 trading. Grew my trading bank 100%, cashed out during the liquidity crisis. That's what I've been doing. That's what I've done. A lot of people have done better, but school. I dropped out of college. My school was in the streets, growing my business from the ground up with no money. I love you guys. I love you guys so much. How do we spend large amounts of XRP? There's going to be plenty of ways to do that. After regulations are set, after we are out of the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit, all of the exchanges are going to bring it online. They're going to drop the debit cards, the credit cards that you can spend your cryptocurrency right away. And all of the banks and institutions will be glad to have you put up your XRP as a loan for collateral. There's going to be plenty of ways to leverage, spend, and use your XRP. Plenty of ways. And they're even implementing it even into the Zum wallet. So that won't be a problem. The problem is going to be, when should you exit your XRP? When should you use your XRP? When should you leverage your XRP? I've shared many times what those price points are for me. Let me run through them real quick because I just keep it so simple for you guys and for myself. I'm going to probably offload about 5% of my XRP portfolio at about $10. I'm going to offload another 5% at $20. After that, I'm not really planning on selling the rest of my bag. I'm planning on leveraging it out after a $50 price point, or the SEC lawsuit is done, settled up, and we have cryptocurrency regulations, and say XRP settles around $25, $30 even. I don't really care what the price point is. $50 in my mind is where we go 4 or 5 years from now, after utilities implemented and we start settling trillions of dollars within distributed ledger technology. So anywhere after that, it's not so much price, it's more of stability, regulation set, rules of the road set, clarity on digital assets. That's when I'm going to feel comfortable. But that's because I'm a real businessman, entrepreneur, capitalist, and I understand that I'm not going to just take my XRP profits and gamble trying to do something that I don't understand. I'm going to take that money to invest in businesses and real estate that I understand and am building out that will last for generations, i.e. generational wealth and the greatest transfer of wealth in world history that we are absolutely taking complete advantage of. God, thank you for giving us this opportunity. I have become way more patient, if XRP takes 20 years to hit $100, we're going to be complaining along the way, but in the end, I mean, our lives will be changed forever if XRP just stabilizes and goes above and allows, if we can either use, spend, or leverage our XRP. Once it's above $10, most of us have established significant enough bags, our lives are changed forever. 20, 30, 50, okay, we're having a fun life. It's all about, what are you going to do after that creates generational wealth. There's a whole lot of people that are throwing around that term right now. Their version of generational wealth is a lot different than mine. Their strategies and plans and the businesses that they're running and operating right now to build generational wealth aren't that's not the path I would take. Shilling cryptocurrencies for a check is not the business I would be building right now. It's not what I would have been doing. And as you guys have seen, it's completely folded and kind of blown up in these guys' face. Just got invited to speak at another conference. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, but we'll see what happens. I'll let you guys know. But we got interviews lined up. We got conferences. People are trying to get me on out to. We'll see what we can do. But folks, we're just getting started. You guys are here at the ground floor, not only on these digital assets, on this opportunity, but on what we're building right here. What we're building right here is not going away. The haters are going to be real mad when we're still here 5 to 10 years from now, still helping people build out generational wealth. Still helping people start businesses, side hustles, bring more value at their current job. You know, our full program is so much more than just cryptocurrency. But the reason why we talk about crypto so much is because I do believe it's the biggest opportunity right now. But I got my silver. I got my other utility cryptocurrencies. We're going hard on, we're going to go hard in real estate. Absolutely. Early stage investments, funding companies, funding startups. I ain't funding none of this fruitcake, fluffy stuff. You can miss me with that. But I mean, we're going to go deep with it, guys. And then part of it is saving on taxes, understanding the tax law, getting a real accountant on your team that's going to help you save a lot of money. Golly. Don't get me started. Yo, you guys crack me up in the chat. You guys are absolutely hilarious in the chat. You know what I like about your channel? You sincerely care on the people building up their wealth. We're trying to do it as fast as possible. Trying to reach as many people as possible. Zach, when you get in real estate, are you planning on just doing high-ticket luxury flips or buying a lot of apartment complexes for cash flow? Ray L. Bay. So I talked about this. I'm looking at utility housing, and specifically I'm looking at mobile home parks and or utility housing, which is what I call it, just smaller scale housing that's needed. Apartments would be, part of it, but that market's very saturated. All of real estate got saturated recently, right? But I have unique abilities, capabilities, and knowledge about, earthworks, moving that and doing that capabilities. So for me, I thought that it would be a good fit, a good add-on to what I've already built out as far as infrastructure within business. It goes so much more deeper than that, though. Operating a landscape business for 8 years in my community gives me unique insight into my community, into the market. So I've been watching it very closely, and I'm like a shark that's just waiting to absolutely just eat it up when we get to that point, when it's the proper time. As far as flipping, not really looking on flipping. I'm looking on building assets, because what I want to do with real estate is that's where I can build a portfolio that I can hand on. The businesses that I run right now, my daughter couldn't take over. You know what I'm saying? They're not meant for my daughter to take over. So I want to build out something else that I can pass on. Now, my daughter's gonna be an absolute killer in business and getting shit done. But, Daddy, I don't want to run your landscape business, is what she might tell me. So I'm preparing for that. And like I said, I understand real estate. I've been studying it, and I'm going to build a real business, real infrastructure, so that we can do more than just flip a couple houses. But for me, I mentioned in my generational wealth exit strategy, what interests me in real estate right now is mobile home / utility. It doesn't have to be mobile homes. It can even be just smaller houses, stick-built houses. They're building homes 3D now, 3D printed homes. But I think that utility housing is going to be a need forever. And then senior housing, assisted living, specifically in my area, there's a shortage of it right now. I just saw something today, an article about a shortage of senior housing, assisted living in my area. And that is because my mentor, Dan Pena, has long talked about how assisted living, home health, and healthcare is one of the greatest opportunities and markets, businesses that you can build out right now, especially for his model. So that's the plan. That's the plan. But I'm only moving at like within real estate and going when it's the right time, when I've built out my team first and when I can hit it hard. Got a little bit of equity, a little bit of cash ready to start off the portfolio. And that's, like I've said, why I've explained why I haven't been investing in cryptocurrency as of late, is because I'm sitting money on the side for the real estate asset class. And the deals are terrible. The deals make me sick. It's a joke. These people are out of their minds. Some of them. Now, some of them are coming back down to reality. It's flipping. It is turning around, but still, we got a long ways to go. By a lot of estimates in the real estate market, we need to come down another 30, 40% on average across the board nationally to come back down to affordability. So, yeah, for me right now, it's just being in a position built out with infrastructure, and then you go and you start making offers. Do you use a third party to maintain the real estate? That's why I said I'm trying to build out a team. Dealing, gosh, I'm dropping too much. I can only speak on it so much, guys, because people local listen to me, and if I talk too much crap about them, then I might get in trouble. But there's just a huge need. The property managers in the space are absolutely a joke. I'll just say that 99% of property managers that I've ever dealt with are a joke. I'm sorry. If you're a property manager, I hope you're a good one. I hope you're a real one, but I'm sorry. I'm not saying that there's not a use case for a property manager. There absolutely is. In what my experience, there's a huge need. And so that's what I'm focused on is utility and real needs, real problems. It's not sexy. It's not sexy as flipping homes, right? It's not as sexy as wholesaling. But it's how you build out generational wealth in the millions of dollars. Not, a flip. Okay, you do a little some flipping, some wholesaling and all that. There's money to be made. There's dudes that make plenty of money wholesaling, flipping, as agents. There's plenty of great agents. There's plenty of property managers. There's good folks. But for me, like I said, I want something that I can hand off. I can't hand off a flipping business to my daughter unless she wants to become a flipper too. I can't hand off a business to my children, right, that doesn't run itself. So you got to build out real team, real infrastructure. Owner and property manager here. There you go. Yeah. Zach, I can't believe how much you've expanded since I started with you 2 years ago. I study this stuff every day. I implement it every day, working to execute these strategies out. I don't just talk about it. Really, really doing the deals every single day. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap up this session. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight, guys. I really appreciate you guys. If you guys can do me a favor, smash that thumbs up. Next episode is going to be on Sunday, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. And if you want to get in the Discord group, head on over to my website, zachrector.com. It's linked on down below. Sign up for the Patreon, and you will get access to our Discord group, and you will be able to make it to our weekly Discord call this Saturday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is when we do the Discord weekly calls. Love chopping it up with my group on a much deeper and intimate level. And you do get direct access to me within that Discord, and as well as all of the resources that we are building out exclusively within the Discord community as well. So thank you for joining me tonight. I will see you guys on Sunday, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. Okay. And once again, guys, everything is linked on down below, but I just encourage you guys, if you're trying to get in touch with me, my website is zachrector.com. It is all there. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you in the next one. God bless you all.